Hey guys, I'm Aditya here, Developer Students Club lead, and welcome everyone to the live stream of the first session of Android Study Jams. I hope you learned something new today. Are you all excited to learn something new? Comment in the chat box below. Keep those comments coming in. So we are basing this session to be an interactive session. So if you have any doubts regarding at any point of time, you can ask them in the chats below. Cool. Okay, so let's welcome our Android facilitator, Gokulnath here. Welcome,
Thank you,
Gokulnath.
Aditya. Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. So, and welcome to this session on Android Study Jams conducted by Developer Students Club. Aditya, can you please change the layout? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So, welcome everyone. So, first, let me introduce myself. I'm Gokulnath M. Prabhu, and I'm a second year computer science student at Model Engineering College. And I'm that kind of a guy who knows a lot of academic stuff, but not much about development. So this is actually my first venture into such a field. So let me take this opportunity to uh, give a big thanks to DSC MBC for allowing me to be the facilitator for this program, and I hope it goes well. So this is on the agenda for today. So first of all, we'll be talking about the program itself. What is Android Study Jams? What are its objectives? And all of that stuff in this part of the session. Then we'll be learning about Kotlin. Now, Kotlin is the language which we'll be using throughout this course for making apps, and we'll be learning all about it, about its history and how what kind of a language it is and all of that stuff in this part. And then we'll be moving on to the fundamentals of Kotlin. So we'll be live coding. You guys can join in. We'll be using an online compiler, so don't worry about downloading any stuff. So we'll be learning the utmost fundamentals of Kotlin right from the basics, and we'll get you a certain appreciable level through this session. And then last, we'll be talking about Kotlin cons and also about the course content in the Android Study Jams course. So let's dive right into it. So the first thing that we'll be doing is, what are the objectives of Android Study Jams? So first of all, we'll be learning the essentials of Kotlin programming language. So as I've already told you, Kotlin is the language that we'll be using. We'll be learning all about it, about all the details like its syntax and the various structures that are available. All of that things will be covered in this course. And then we'll be building a variety of Android apps, not in this session though, because this is just an introductory session. So we'll be doing those sessions later, but there'll be code labs and stuff in the course page. So you will be able to create Android apps of your own using Kotlin, and we'll be using tools such as Android Studio for creating those apps. And then you will also learn the best practices for Android development. That is some of the industry practices that are quite standard across all over the world. So you will be learning that as well, and then discover new resources to continue learning. So this course is, though it's complete, but this is not the end of Android development. You can have a lot more to learn even after this course. So we'll be discovering new resources so that we can keep on continuing our learning about Android development. So what are the prerequisites for this course? Now, the first thing that I've written is programming experience in a loop language. But don't worry, even if you don't know any object-oriented programming language, you will be fine doing this course. I'll be taking you right through the basics. So this won't be an issue. This is just there because it would be nice to have a knowledge about OOP language. But even if you don't, it's not a big deal. You can easily manage it in the course. And these things you will be needing a computer and an internet connection so that you can go through the course and download Android Studio and run it and all of that stuff. For that, you'll need a computer and an internet connection, which I believe all of you have. So here's a question for you. What's your favorite programming language and why? Like, you might know a language or two, or some may know many languages. So out of that, what's your favorite programming language? Can we get that in the comments below? Feel free to chat in the comments about your favorite programming language.
Guys, so there is about 10 to
Yeah,
15
15
second
second
delay
delay.
in the comments. So once you type them, it takes about 10 to 15 seconds for us to receive them. So I'm sorry for that delay,
Yeah,
and I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
yeah, sorry guys. Okay, so Sajio has said C++, Python. Okay, okay, okay. So if you ask me, my favorite language would be Java actually, because basically it's because that's the first language that I learned, and yeah, so that's the reason. And let me tell you a fun fact. Actually, first time that I used Kotlin to write any sort of code was just 10 days ago. So you can imagine how easy it is to learn Kotlin because I just started with my Hello World program in Kotlin just 10 days ago. And today here I am conducting a session on Kotlin's basics. So it's really an interesting language and I hope you will be having a lot of fun learning it. So moving on, what is Kotlin? Well, Kotlin is a modern programming language that helps developers be more productive. So let me tell you a little history about Kotlin. Kotlin was developed by JetBrains. It started out as a project in 2010 and it went open source in the year 2016 with the launch of Kotlin 1.0. And it's one of the most popular languages on GitHub. So definitely check this out. Right. So what are the benefits of Kotlin? First one is expressive and concise code. So what this means is you can implement things that you want with just very little lines of code and also in a very unambiguous manner. So Kotlin is a very good language that does all of this and safer code. So what I mean with safer code is that you will be able to handle various exceptions like null pointer exception, and as such there are many errors that may occur, and all of that can be handled very easily with the help of Kotlin. And the most important thing is that Kotlin is totally interoperable with Java. So what that means is if you have an application that runs on Java that uses Java, you can actually add as much or as little of Kotlin code that you want, and you can use it as a Kotlin app. It's that simple. It's really interoperable with Java. And structured concurrency. So what I mean with structured concurrency is that uh, apps made with Kotlin will be able to handle background tasks and network and taking stuff from the network or from local files very easily and in a very efficient way so that the programmer doesn't have to bother much about that. So that's pretty much it, benefits of Kotlin. Now, let's get to your question. Why should you learn Kotlin? Or what's the relevance of Kotlin in Android development? Okay, so in 2017, uh, Google, the developers of Android, Google made a statement, an announcement saying that Kotlin will be an official language for Android development. So this means huge. That means Kotlin will be an officially supported language. So most of the apps will be using Kotlin from then on. And in 2019, it just got better. In 2019, Google made another announcement in which they said that all Android apps will be Kotlin first, which means that Kotlin is the most preferred language for Android development according to Google. So this is a huge benefit for Kotlin. And in terms of statistics, well, I can tell you, according to Google, about 70% of the top 1000 apps on the Play Store use Kotlin. So that's a huge number, about 70%. That means almost a majority of the industry uses Kotlin. And also 60% of the old Android developers use Kotlin in the applications that they make. So Kotlin is something that's growing very big. It's very big already, and it will still grow in the future. Right. So now I think we can start with Kotlin. This is the most exciting session, exciting part of this session. So what I want you to do is go on to uh, play.kotlin.org. So I hope the link. I'm sorry, guys. So just search for Kotlin Playground. As you can see, Kotlin Playground. I hope the link is there in the description below, so you can check that out. And just go on to this site, play.kotlinlang.org. Click this. So let me just make screen. All right. So I hope you can see the screen clearly. Is the font size okay? Can someone please chat? Is the font size okay?
Yeah, the font size is good. It's fine.
Yeah. So can we get someone to tell me, like, have you reached this web page? Have anyone opened this web page? Please do open. Everyone should do this. This is going to be really great. Yeah. Okay. Good. Cool. So when you open this page, you will be greeted with this hello world program, and you can edit stuff. So okay. Yeah. So this is the basic hello world program. This is how we are going to begin our Kotlin. So if you observe, there are a few things in this code. Mainly, this is the fun keyword. Now, this is a keyword in Kotlin that will be used to create functions. So if you want to create any sort of a function in Kotlin, you have to use the fun keyword. Then there is the main. Now, like most other programming languages, like Java, C, there's a main function in Kotlin too, and all of the code will start executing from the main function. So this is the most important uh, function in Kotlin. You have to use this in every code, every program that you write in Kotlin. Okay, so then we have curly braces to open and close the function, and in between we have written a statement, println hello world. So like in Java, Java uses system.out.println, which is really lengthy. But in Kotlin, it's more concise. You can just write println and then hello world. So we can just run this program, and as you can see, hello world is the out. So now that we have learned how to print things, let's see how we can store things in Kotlin. That is, how do you declare variables in Kotlin? So now there are two methods to declare variables. Like there are two types of variables actually. That's why we have two ways to declare variables. So the first one is called a val variable. So what this means is that when you declare a variable as val, it means that the variable is immutable, so that you cannot make changes to it later on. It's kind of like a constant that you can declare in other languages. So let's make a variable. Let's say name. Okay. So as with other languages, you don't actually need a and data type. You don't need to specify that. Kotlin is smart enough to know what data type you are using. So we can just type in hello Kotlin, something like that. Okay. So now we can just print this, println, and the variable name name. All right. So now we can run this, and it will print hello Kotlin. Now, I said there are two types of variables. So let's go for the second one now. Second one is called var. Var means that is a variable. So what that means is you can change it afterwards if you want to, any number of times. That's not an issue. So we can make another one, say greeting, and we can put something else, say, I don't know, hello world or something. And now we are not going to use this. We're going to print greeting. Oops. Okay. So now it will print greeting, and that is hello world. But the thing with var is that you can change it later. So let's just change it and print it again so that we can see the difference. So greeting equals hello Kotlin. Oops, mistaken. And now we can print it again. Println greeting. And now we can run this. So we'll first be greeted with hello world and then hello Kotlin. So this has changed in between in this line, and don't care about this exclamation mark that we are seeing. It's just that we didn't use this variable anywhere. So like I said, in Kotlin we don't need to specify the data type anywhere, but it's generally a good practice to specify the data type that we are using for each variable. So it's kind of different in Kotlin how you declare the data types. In other languages, you will be like int a is equal to 0 or string name is equal to hello, like that. You can name it like that. But in Kotlin, what you have to do is first write val or var, whatever you want, and then the variable name, and then you put a colon, and then you put the type. So here we are using a string, right? Hello Kotlin, that's a string. It's enclosed in double quotes. So I think it would be better if we put it as string. We can put this as string, and also there's a automatic code completion thing on this website, so that's really helpful at times. And for greeting also we can put this as string. And now this doesn't really make any difference, but it will be important in some cases. So it's generally a good practice to use variable data types. And there are other data types like int. You can just I'll show you val a. Okay, and for int you have to write I is capital, so uppercase I N T. You can select that equal to 5, and then we can print this println a. So we'll get an a. Yeah, 5. It's in the output. So this is all about variables, and now I would like to do one thing. So now what I'm going to do is actually change this name to something like just Kotlin, not hello, just Kotlin. So can I get a thumbs up in the chat if you are following this so far? Can anyone please chat? Are you guys following this? I hope you are. Okay, so I'm going to change this string to Kotlin. Now I'm going to change this string to just hello. So now we are going to see a new way to print things. So if you want to combine these strings, you can do so. Just write println, and inside the bracket you can just write name. Sorry, I'm going to go greeting plus name, and this will concatenate the two strings, and the output will be hello Kotlin. Notice that there's no space because I haven't put any spaces here or here in the print statement. Suppose this is not there. Suppose this thing was not here. Now let's see how we can print a string like we need to print hello Kotlin. So Kotlin is in a variable. The string Kotlin is already in a variable called name. Now we can just write like hello and a space and plus name, and this will give us the same result, hello Kotlin. Yeah, so this is how you do in most languages. You cannot write variable names inside the double quotes, but in Kotlin there's a method to do so. So we can just cut this, and inside the double quotes you can actually put a dollar sign followed by the variable name. So what this will do is that the variable variable name written after the dollar sign will be concatenated with this string. So it will give us the same result. Now this doesn't necessarily have to be string. It can be an integer, can be of any other type. So this is how we do that. Now moving on. I hope everything is clear so far. Now we'll move into conditional statements. So conditional statements in traditional languages are if and switch. So in Kotlin, there's a slight change. If else is the same, but because instead of switch case statements, we have when statements. So let me just show you. We'll start with if else. So we can write like if, and we can give here any condition that we want, like if let me just make another variable that is here. So I'm going to declare, I don't think I'll need this. Okay, so I'm going to declare a variable a, which will be of integer type, so int equals, say, a value of 5. Now the next thing I want is another variable, val b. So it's also an integer, and I'll declare it as 10. So what I'm going to do is, if a is greater than b, then we'll print a, otherwise we'll print b. So this is just a simple example to learn if else. So if a greater than b, then we can print ln a, and we can do else. Sorry, let me get else. We can print ln b. So now what this will do is that it will check this condition, that is if a is greater than b. If that results to be true, it will print a, otherwise it will print b. So it will print b because b is the larger of the two. So now let's see, there's a trick in Kotlin wherein you can actually use an if else statement to actually store values to a variable. So let's see that. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare another variable for a val c, and it will be of int type. Now what I want is that if the value of a is greater than b, then I want to store a in c. If the value of b is greater than a, then I want to store the value of b in C. So this is my use case. So in other languages, you will have to declare this initially and then write a separate if else block, and then you will get the value of C, and then you will have to print it. So it's quite a lengthy and tedious process. So here in Kotlin, you can actually do it in one line. So if you can actually in the declaration part itself, you can use if else statements. So first one is if a greater than b, then it's a. Okay, so what will happen is that if a is greater than b, then the value of a will be stored in C, and we can write an else b. So what will happen is that if a is less than b, then b will be stored in C. Now we can just print this, print ln C. So now if we print this, we'll get the value 10. So what actually happens is that the value gets stored into C, and we can use this concise method to store the values into a variable. All right, so I think now we can move on to when statements. When statements are kind of like switch statements in other languages like Java or C. So we can write when and open a bracket, and then you need to specify the variable for which you will be checking the cases. So I'm going to just type a, right? So when a, that's my condition. Now we need to open a pair of curly braces, hit enter. So in other languages, you will use case one like this, right? But in Kotlin, you won't be using that. In Kotlin, what you have to do is you have to specify the values here. You don't need anything like case or any keyword like that. You just have to use like 5. That's the value of a currently, so I'll be using that value. And then you have to put an arrow using a hyphen and a greater than symbol. And then if this is the case, you can do whatever you want, like println hello, and you can put many cases, as many cases as you want. I can put like 2 arrow equals println by or something like that. It's not really relevant. And then in other languages you have default, where if none of the cases match, it will go to default case. So instead of that, you will have else, the same kind of else that we use in if else, and you can also put an arrow and then println something else like Kotlin or something. Okay, so now what will happen is we'll declare a variable called a and initialize it to the value 5. Then we'll go to this when statement, and it will try and match any of these values. If none of these are matched, then it will go to the else part and it will print Kotlin. So we can just run this, and it prints hello, which is the line that corresponds to 5. Now if we change this value to say 100 or something, then none of these cases would match. So if we run this, and it says Kotlin because the else part gets called. So this pretty much it about when statements, the conditional statements. I hope it's clear. All right. Okay, so we've done conditionals, we have seen about variables, and now what we are going to do is iterations or loops. So the first thing that I want to show you about loops is that there's an inbuilt function in Kotlin that is called the repeat function. Repeat, and the syntax is you write the word repeat, it's a keyword, and then inside these braces you have to type the number of times you want to iterate. So let me just change this to something like 5. So I'll type in just a. You can also give any value, any number, or anything like an expression like a plus 1 or a plus 5. It doesn't really matter. And then you need to open a curly braces, and you can do anything that you want, anything that you wanted to do repeatedly, and just print ln. I'm going to print hello and just run this. So this will print hello 10 times. So a plus 5, that's 10. So it will print 10 times. So this is an easy way to repeat, but this doesn't really have a good, this isn't a really good way to use loops in Kotlin or in any language. So we're going to be learning about for loops. So let me just clear this. So can we have a thumbs up in the chat if you are following this up to this? Do feel free to ask any doubts at any point. I'll be right here. I'll explain any of the doubts that you have. Feel free to ask any. All right, so I think we'll move on. So next is for loops, the traditional loops that you'll always be using in almost every other programming language. It's here in Kotlin as well. So yay, we got for loops. So for, just as all languages, you'll write for, and then we can actually do one thing. We'll just write x in, I'm sorry, x from, I'm sorry, I forgot about I'm extremely sorry, guys. I forgot how to do this. X in 0, and then there's a function called until, keyword called until 10. We can put it like this, and then we need to open the curly braces and println. You can type hello. Hope this works. And yes. So what we have done is for, and then we declare a variable called x. So we can actually do one thing. We'll add x as well, and we need to do that like dollar and then the variable name x. So we can actually use this variable inside this for loop, like kind of like the looping variables that you use in other languages. It's similar to that. So here x will actually start iterating from 0 and until this value, that is 10. So we'll get hello 0, hello 1, hello 2 up to 9. So actually 10 means it will actually print 10 times, not to the value 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. up to 9, 10 times. So you can actually do this, and if you want to increment by 2 or 3, you can use the keyword called step. So you'll be doing, what you'll be doing is for x in 0 until 10 and step, and then the value by which it should be incremented. So I'm going to do 2. So now what will happen is after each iteration, the value of x will be incremented by 2. So let's just run this, and there you go, 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So that's pretty much it about for loops. I hope it's clear. Yeah. Okay. So now let me just clear this. So now, okay, so now what we are going to do is define functions of our own. So right up until now, we've been using only this main function, but in Kotlin, like any other language, we can define functions of our own. So for that, what you will need to do is use the fun keyword. As I told you earlier, we need to use the fun keyword, fun. And then after a space, you can put any name that you want for the function. So I'm going to be putting something like a greeting. I can put this like this. So let's welcome everything that we want to. And then we need to open and close a pair of regular braces. So parentheses. So after this, you can just put a curly braces. Oops. Oops. Something got downloaded. No. And now inside this curly braces, what you have to do is you can do anything inside a function. So I'm going to do a println statement, just a regular println, and I'm going to say hello world from here. Now, as with all languages, main start the function. I'm sorry, the code actually starts running from the main function. So we need to write some line in main function so that we can call this greeting function. So what we are going to do is we gonna call this greeting function. Now to do this, you just have to write greeting of brackets, and that's it. Oops, Mr. G. Okay, and then okay. So now what will happen is the code will start executing from the main function, and we'll be first using calling this function called greeting. So the compiler will look for the function called greeting in this file, and it will find this function greeting. So what it will do is it will start executing this function called greeting, and in that function we have written hello world. So it will get printed. As simple as that. Now if you want to include parameters into our functions, like say you want to change this word into some other language, say I'm sorry, not language, some other variable, like maybe we can name this variable as lang. So what we need to do is that we need to get an argument from main function so that we can print it here or use it for anything inside this function. So what we need to do is we need to declare an argument inside this function declaration, and for that it's you just have to put the name of that variable. So we are going to be naming it as lang. So just write lang, and then we need to specify the data type. So for that you need to write colon, and then this is going to be a string that I'm intending to use. So I'll just type in string, and so now we'll be able to use this function with parameters. So we need to modify this call statement as well so that we can use it with the parameters. Otherwise it's going to make an error. So now we can just type in something like Kotlin, and now it will print hello Kotlin. That's the expected answer. Now we can call this again with another parameter just so that you can get a feel of things. We can just put Java or something. So now if I run this, it will print hello Kotlin, hello Java. So this this argument, oops, this argument will be copied into this lang variable, and that variable will be used for the printing. So this is how you make function. Now you can also have other variables as well. You can put like greet of string, and this will be separated by commas. Don't forget about that. And now we can write like comma and hello, and here we can put something like hey. Hey. So now if we run this, and we have to change this as well so that the changes can occur, and just put $sign greet. So now, oops, now what will happen is this variable will be stored inside greet, and the words Kotlin will be stored inside lang, and during the second call, hey will be stored in greet, and Java will be stored in lang. So now we can run this, and it says hello Kotlin, hey Java. So that's how you call functions. You can also do one thing if you want to. We can write val greet of string, string equals hello, and now we can replace this hello by just greet, and yeah, greet. We can change this as well, greet. So you can pass other variables into this function call statements, so that you can use those variables as your parameters, and we can just run this, and it says hello Kotlin, hello Java, because both times hello is the variable that we are passing, right? So there's actually a concept of a return type in other languages that still holds true in Kotlin. We do have return types. So to declare, to specify the return type, what we can do is just after the function declaration and before this open curly braces, we can just put a colon and then specify the return type. So in this function, we are not returning any values. So we are not returning any values. So in other languages, most probably Java and C and all, we write void as the return type. But here, actually, void is not present in Kotlin. Instead of that, we have a name called unit. Unit with the U is capital, U is a uppercase character, and unit. What this will tell the compiler is that this function won't be returning any values, and by default it's unit, but we can specify it if we want to, and no changes will happen. So actually there's actually another way to use this function, because we are only printing this line. Like this function only has one purpose, and that is to print this line, or just one thing is being used by this function. So we can actually do one thing, and that is remove these two curly braces and bring this line up, and we can just put an equal to here. So what this will do is that it will consider this function as only this line, and that is println, greet, and lang. So this is a very concise way to write a function. If you have a function that only does one thing, or that has only one line, you can use this type of declaration, and running this will be the same. It will print hello Kotlin, hello Java. It will be the same because we are calling the same way. And if you want to return things from a function, you can do so by using the return statement. So what this will do is that it will take whatever is written inside this and send it back to the calling function. So here we have actually declared it as unit, but if we need to return something, we need to change the return type. So for that, we are actually returning a string from here, right? This is a string, so we need to return a string. So we need to specify that it's a string that it is returning. Now we need to change this part, this calling part, because earlier it was a unit, so it won't return anything, and we don't need to collect anything here. So we need to specify a variable here so that we can capture that value and use it for other purpose. So we can write like var. I'm going to declare it as var because I'm going to be using it twice. Var and a name as something like res for result, and then we'll be using colon and specifying the type. It's always a good practice to specify the type, and we can just put equals greeting of greet comma Kotlin, and we need to do that here as well. So I have already declared the variable var as var, so I can use that variable here itself. So it will be like res equals greet, and now we need to print this because this function is not printing anything, it's just returning that value. So once we have the value in res, we can print it. So we can just write println res, and after this one also I'm going to be printing so that you can see the difference. Right, so now, oops, okay, I think, okay, so I think this is the first time that I've seen this. So I think we need to use, curly braces so that we can return things from one function to another. And there we go. So we'll get the values hello Kotlin and hello Java. So make sure that if you're returning something, you use curly braces, don't use it in a single line. And yeah, so actually, so for using it in a single line, there is a method. You just have to clear out this return statement and just use equals. So what this will do is that okay, so if you need to do a return from a single line function, you have to use you don't have to use a return keyword. You can just write like greet plus line or something like that. So yeah, so if you do it now, it will print hello Kotlin, hello Java without the spaces because I haven't provided any space in between. So yeah, so that's pretty much it about functions. And can we have any, is there any doubt? You can please put it in the comment section. Are we clear with the things that we have done so far? If we are clear, we can move on. Don't be shy to ask any doubts. Not going to be a problem. Even if it's any very small doubt or a really big doubt, do ask. Please don't skip on doubts. Okay. I guess there's no doubt. Shall we move on?
Everyone is clear. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll inform if there's any doubts.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So cool. So next thing that we'll be doing is right. So there's another thing that I want to show. Let me just clear all of this. Right. So there's this concept of named arguments in Kotlin. So what that means is that you can actually have arguments like in the calling section. Suppose I write greeting of, now you don't, if here it's fine, just two, we are just using two variables, greet and lang. So it won't be as such an issue. But what if you have like 5 or 6 or 7 variables or something that goes inside a function? So it will actually be confusing if you need to keep the correct order. So what we can do is that here the variable's name is greet, right? So what we need to do is greet equals something, say hello, and comma lang equal lang equals Kotlin. So now what will happen is, even if you switch this order, even if there are like 5 or 10 variables, even if you don't remember that order, you can actually use these function variable names, and with that you can express this. You can actually call this function very easily. Even if you get mixed up, it won't be any issue. Let me show that as well. You think of. Now here in this function, I have written greet as the first variable and lang as the second variable, but it's totally fine to switch them if you use this named variable concept. So you can write lang equals Java and greet equals hey, something like that. So now even if you mix up these variables, it will get properly assigned to this variable and this variable, and we can run this. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to take the matter. I'll just print it here. Yeah, so I think we'll be good. Oh, sorry. Unit okay, equals. Right, so now it has printed hello Kotlin and hey Java. It didn't get mixed up. It will get correctly placed in the specified variable. So this is what I was intending to do with named arguments. Now let's say, let's just close this. Let's say that you have, like as we have done before, we had two times we had to print things 2 times, right? So what we can do is actually we can use a single call statement to do that printing statement 2 times. So for that we can actually use a concept called variable arguments, or var. Var
Gokul,
is a, yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but there's a doubt with
Oh yeah,
Milu
is it
George.
for
Is this only possible if the variable is given value in the calling line itself?
no, you can actually pass. Let me just show you that if you're having any doubt. Yeah, you can do that. Let me just pass a variable val is equal to, so sorry, val greet is equal to something like hi. So what I'll do is I'm going to be calling this function using that named variable concept. So for that you can do greeting, okay, and first you have to specify this value. This, I'm sorry, you can do any of these first. So let me just put lang equals something like Kotlin, and we have to know this name. This is greet. So the second variable that we need is greet. So earlier what I used was I just put in the value like this, just as a literal. But you can also pass this variable as a parameter. So what you need to do is just greet equals, maybe I should have named this something else. Let's say uh, something like that. Sorry, I'm pretty bad at naming variables. Okay, so oops, this should be greet and this should be hello. So hello is our variable that we have declared here. We can also specify that it's a string, and variable that hello is a variable and greet is the argument that we have inside this function. So we can totally do this. And oops, I lost my body. Println dollar greet space dollar what's that lang. Now if we run this, hi Kotlin, you see this is stored in a variable and we can use that inside this function. So I hope your doubt is clear. Yeah.
She has another doubt. He's asking, we can't give hello directly.
Yeah, we can. That's what we are doing here. We are giving that value of hello to greet, and we can use that as. But one more thing that I would like to point out is that if you're going for a named variable concept, named argument concept inside while you're calling something, calling a function, don't mix it up with the non-named variable type. Like if you do it like this, it won't work because you are using lang equals Kotlin. That's a named argument concept, but this is unnamed, so it won't get run properly. See, we'll have an error. So if you are going with a named concept, you have to specify that for every argument, otherwise it won't work. If you do this, now it will work. I hope your doubt was cleared. Is it?
There's a bit of a lag, so just
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fine. Yeah, okay. So good, cool. So now the next concept that I want to use is var. Var means, say, let me just clear all. Yeah. So var means if you want to say like earlier when I used this function, I had to call it twice for two different variables. Like if I wanted to type in hello Kotlin first, I have to use call this first one time, and then I wanted to change it to hello Java. Then I would have to change. I have to call this again. So that's kind of difficult. So what we are going to do is use a thing called var. Var is a keyword in Kotlin, and this tells the compiler that the variable that we are declaring alongside it can have variable number of arguments. So what that means is that you can have either 0 or any number of arguments as the in the variable lang. So what actually happens is it will be stored in an array, and you can use that array to print things out or use it in any way that you want. So let me just do this. All right. So now what will happen is we have an array called lang, and it will have either 0 or any number of arguments. So we can actually there's a thing Let me actually come back to this later because we need to study the concept of array first in order to fully understand this. So I'm sorry, I'm going back. I'm using my, let's just say this is just commented out. By the way, you can comment things out by using just two backslashes. And right, so onto the concept of arrays, lists, and maps. These are very important concepts. They are like the most important things in this fundamentals part. So in order to declare an array, like most other languages, you will use something like say the variable name and variable data type, and then you will put curly braces, and inside that you will be writing the elements. But inside Kotlin, what you need to do is you need to declare a variable. So I am using val, and let's name the array as langs. So lang. Langs, by langs I mean languages. So what we need to do is equals, this is equal to an array of, oops, oh. So be careful. The first letter of array is a small letter, and the first letter of is a caps. So this is actually called camel case, and this is how we actually declare all functions. It's a standard practice. So array of. Now we can have any number of values inside an array. It can be 0 or more. So let's just declare some languages that we know, like Kotlin. It can be anything. It can also be of other data types like integer. Doesn't really matter. And Java and Python. We can add any number of variables inside this, any number of elements inside this. Right. So now what we have is an array that contains 3 elements that are Kotlin, Java, and Python. So since I have declared all of this inside curly inside this double quotes, this will be an array of type string. So this is a string array. Now we can access various elements inside this. So for that, every element will have an index, this which starts from 0. So Kotlin will have the index 0, Java will have the index 1, and Python will have the index 2, similar to almost all other programming languages. And we can, let me just println langs of, and you can actually, there's a really nice code completion thing. You can just put dot and it should appear. Yeah, so here we have a list of functions that you can use with this array. There are a lot of functions. We are not going to be going through all of this. I don't even know most of them. So what we are using is something called a get. Right, so get is a function. You can see it here, this one. Click it, and you can just specify the number that is the index you want to say 1. So what this will do is that it will check this array called langs, and it will take the element with the index position 1, which is Java. So it will get printed. Now we can also print in another way. You can just write langs and this square bracket, and you can put the number index number inside that. That's totally fine. It still works in this Kotlin, and you will get Java and then Kotlin. So this is what you need to know about the basics of arrays. Is that clear? It's somewhat different from other languages, so I hope it's clear. Can we get some comments? Are you guys following? It's been almost 1 hour since this stream started, so is it boring, or can we get any comments on that? Okay, so I think we can move on. Now we'll be learning about iterating through arrays. So if you need to print every element in this array, you can use a for loop. You can use for something like lang in langs, similar to what you would use in Python. What will happen is this is a new variable called lang, and it will iterate through every element in this langs array. So let me just clear this. Yeah. So it will go through every element in this array, and you can use this to print stuff. Println lang, and this will print every element in that array. But and there's also another way to iterate through the values of an array. So for that we need to use a function in an inbuilt function in Kotlin, and that is called for each function. So for that you need to write langs dot. Okay, so now we need to call that function. So for that we need the function's name is for each. So remember that it's camel case, so the first letter of the first word is a small letter and the second word onwards is capital, for each. And don't select this one, this is not what we are going to do. So what we need to do is we need to open curly braces. This is the type of for each that we are going to be using most of the time. So what this will do is it will iterate to each element, and by default the variable that will be iterating through it is called it. But we can also change it to anything, say lang, and then we need to use an arrow mark, that's hyphen followed by a greater than symbol, and we can use this lang in any way that we wish. We can just print it here, println lang, and what it will do is it will iterate through a variable and it will print that. Okay, so I guess it's clear. So right, so I think that's pretty much it about arrays. Now we can also have things called lists. So lists are kind of similar to arrays, but the thing with lists is if you declare them once, you can actually change the size, their size after some time if you want. But in the case of arrays, you cannot change their size. So what we'll do is we'll change this array of to list of. Right. So what this will do is it will create a list which has 3 variables. Again, in the same way, it's probably almost similar to array, and it will also have indices. So you can use the same way, println langs of 0, and it will print the first element, and println langs dot get. I hope that's here. Yeah, get of 2, and this will print the same thing. Kotlin Python, it's just the same as arrays, and you can also use the for each function inside this list. So for that, langs dot for each, and don't select the one that comes here. This is not the format that we are going to be using. We are going to be using curly braces, and then we can specify a variable that we want. This variable can have any name, that's not an issue. We are using lang because that's what we prefer. So we can just println lang, and it will print all the elements inside that. So that's about lists. And also if we want to, I'll show you one more thing. So here, instead of printing this like this, we can actually use this lang to iterate through every variable in this lang's list, and we are going to be calling that greeting function again. So greeting of, let's say, hello, and then we are going to be passing this variable called lang. This is totally possible, and you can use this to do that. You can just print ln $sign greet space $sign lang. So this will do pretty much the same thing. Hello Kotlin, hello Java, hello Python. It's just the same. You can use this lang variable inside this function call statement, and it will work. And you can actually pass whole list as a parameter to a function. So let me just show that as well quickly. So for that, you need to change your arguments data type. So yeah, so this time we are going to be passing the list as a whole into this function. So for that, this data type should be changed to list and then a square. I'm sorry, less than and greater than symbols. So inside this less than bracket, we need to specify the type of list that we are passing. So here it is a string list. So we need to specify that it's a string and then close it with angular brackets again. So what this will do is that it will accept the whole list as a single list inside this function. I'm just gonna name this as lines for easiness. And we can actually call this function like this: greeting of any variable like hello, and just specify the name of the list, that is langs. Okay, so now inside this we have a list called langs. Maybe I should yeah, so we have a list called langs, and now we can print each element like this, like langs dot for each. Yeah, so we can use a variable name like and then print ln $sign each space $sign lang. So what this will do, oops, okay. So what this will do is that it will iterate through every element inside this list called langs, and this is totally independent of this thing, like it's passed by value method, so that it won't changes made to this list won't affect this one. So this will actually pass the whole list in as an argument. Earlier we just passed every element in this list, but now what we are doing is we are passing the whole list into the function. So yeah, so we'll get the same result: hello Kotlin, hello Java, hello Python. So that's pretty much everything that we have to learn about lists today. And there is one more thing that's called a map. So this is somewhat of a different concept. So for that, yeah. So now we are going to make a map. So map is also a kind of a data structure like array and list, but the difference is that in maps, the values are stored as key value pairs. So what that means is, if I make a map of, say, like this, and we can actually use this in a certain way, so that every element will be stored as a key value pair. So we can just assign certain keys to every element, every value in the list. So in the map, so we can just write one and then use a keyword called to, to 1 2. We can just write something like Kotlin and then put a comma, and we can add any number of elements that we want to. We can just write to Java, and we can also add one more 3 to Python. Right. So now what we have done is we have created a map, and in which there are 3 elements, but those 3 elements are stored as key value pairs. So here the first thing that we represent is known as a key, and this is the value. So here the value Kotlin has a key number equal to 1. You can actually name keys as any other variables also. So right, so now we can actually print all the variables like this. So map, or I'm sorry, you have to call using the variable name langs dot, and you can also use the for each function that we used for lists and arrays. So for that we have to use for each, and this. So earlier we had only an element consisted of only one part, and that was its value. But here we have two parts, a key and a value. So what happens is we need to specify two things. That is, earlier we only used one variable inside the for each function, that was a variable called lang. But here we need two things. That is, we are going to declare two variables, say key and comma, and then you put value. This is the name of the variable that I am putting. You can put any name that you want. It's not really an issue. I'm just specifying it as key and value. So when we call this for each function, what happens is this key will be stored inside this first variable, and this value will be stored inside this second variable, and we can use it to print stuff out. You can just write like key $sign key is for $sign something like value.
I'm
and
sorry
then,
to go now.
yeah.
There's a question.
Oh yeah.
It's from Lakshmi Sharma.
Yeah.
Are variables case sensitive in Kotlin?
Yes. All variables are case sensitive. You should not change any case, even if there's a change in just one letter or something, it will show an error. Variables are case sensitive like any other language. So I hope it's clear, right?
I hope it's clear too.
Yeah.
Let's move on. You can
Yeah, let's
ask
move
any
on.
doubts in the chats.
Yeah. Please do ask.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's continue.
Yeah. So now what we have done is we have created a map, and it has three elements, as I told you before. So inside this for each, what will happen is it will iterate to every element. So in a map, every element consists of key and a value, and the first variable, that is the key, will be stored inside this variable, and the value will be stored inside this variable. You can name it anything that you want. It doesn't really matter. And let's just close this, and I'm gonna just comment this because I'm not using that. All right. So yeah, so it will print key to one is key to Kotlin is 1. So 1, and this is just a string that I put in between, is for Kotlin, 2 is for Java, 3 is for Python. So that's pretty much it about maps and all. And the last thing that I want to specify is var. We left it out while we were going for arrays. So let me just finish off that thing as well. So var is a yeah. Let me just change this to a regular string. I hope maps, arrays, and lists are clear to everyone. Yeah. Can we get yeah? If it's clear, can you please put it in the chat box? Yeah. So I hope it's clear. Feel free to ask any doubts in the chat. There's no problem like that. Don't feel shy. So now we are going for var. That's the last concept that I will be showing you today. Yeah, okay, so it's all clear. So yeah, so var is a keyword that enables us to have, oops, why is it like this? Yeah, so var is a keyword that enables us to input actually variable number of arguments as our variable number of elements as arguments. So what will happen is when you call this function, you can actually specify a zero or more number of variables as an argument, and it will be stored inside this variable lang as an array. Now you don't have to specify this as an array or something; it will automatically happen. And what you'll get is inside this lang there will be an array of strings, and yeah, so you can actually use all the functions that you have in arrays like lang dot. I can use yeah, so this shows up all the functions that you have inside arrays, and I'm going to be using for each. As discussed before, it will be the same syntax for each lang. I'm going to be need a space here. So after that arrow mark, we can use this for anything. You can just print ln greet $sign greet space $sign lang. We can just close this, right? So now what will happen is it will iterate through every I'll just name this as lang so that yeah. Sorry for this. I think there's some problem with the compiler. That's right. Yeah. So it will iterate through every element in langs and it will print out this. So we need to call this function. So we need just to specify greeting of the first one is is a variable called greet. Now when you use var, there is one thing that you have to remember. You will not be able to use named arguments with var. That's an important thing. That's kind of a trade-off that you have. If you use var, you cannot use named arguments. Yeah.
Gugulnand, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt again.
Yeah.
There's one more doubt by Midu
Yeah.
George. She's
Okay.
asking whether can var arg only be used for parameters in functions?
Yeah, it's actually var means variable number of arguments. So arguments are only used in inside functions, right? So we can actually only use var for functions. We cannot use them for declaring variables and all. Now I don't really know much details about that. Maybe there will be other uses as well, but in my knowledge, the only thing that we are using var for is inside functions. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Google.
Yeah. So the thing that I was saying is you cannot use var with named arguments. So you cannot use something like this, where greet equals hello, comma, length equals something like Kotlin or something like that. You cannot use it like this because it will cause an error. If you use var, you cannot use this way, it will cause error. So you have to specify it without these named arguments. We can delete this, right? So now we have only specified one variable inside here. Let's just use call this function again, and I'll show you the difference. So first one is hello, right? And then next one, we can actually pass a variable number of arguments. So here we have only one argument inside this array called length. So now we are going to do, what we are going to do is we are going to pass two of them. So Kotlin, Java. Yeah. So now what will happen is the first one will be stored inside this greet. It will get automatically stored, and the rest of them, all of them will be stored inside this var length. Length is an array, so it will be able to hold 2 or 3 or any number of values that you wish. So now let's just run this. Yeah. So the first one is, maybe I should change this to Python or something so that you can see the difference clearly. Yeah. So let me just run this again. Yeah. So the first time we are calling this, and the var variable that we have passed on is Python. So there will be only be one element inside this, and that will be printed. For the second time, we are actually passing hello. Hello is the greet variable, is stored inside the greet variable, and the rest of the two elements, that is Kotlin and Java, will be stored inside var. So var will have two elements. This length array will have two elements, and this will iterate through both elements, and we have hello Kotlin and hello Java. So I think that's pretty much it. That's what I have planned for this part of the session. Is there any doubt regarding this? The session is not over though. I'll take 5 more minutes just to show you about the course and all. Please stay, please don't leave. This is the end of the coding session. So if there's any doubt, can you please ask in the chats? Because we'll be switching this thing soon. Yeah, okay. So I think we can move on, right? Yeah. So let me just go back to my presentation. Yeah, okay. So we are done with the coding part of the session. Yeah, okay. No doubts. Yeah. So let's move on to how this course will work. So first thing that you need to know is about Kotlin cons. So Kotlin cons is a series of exercises that will help you learn, get familiar with Kotlin. So this is actually provided as a part of the course, and we really do recommend you to try it out. So I'll show you this page later. Let me just show you what all contents there are. So as you can see, Kotlin code is a series of exercises to get familiar with Kotlin syntax and idioms. So there are various sections inside this Kotlin cons. So Kotlin cons basically means there will be like these sections, and you can try out inside every sections. There will be exercises, questions that you need to solve. So like this is the first one, and they'll give you a simple task to do this thing. and there will be a half correct code. It won't be completely right. You have to make it right so that these instructions are satisfied. And you can do any changes that you want. You can take as much time as you want. That's not an issue here. And you can actually, there's a button called show answer, but I wouldn't really recommend that after you have tried it so for a long time. Please don't just go inside and use show answer. Okay, this is the answer, so I got it. Cool, I have understood that. Don't be like that. You have to try it out first and then move on to the next questions. So we recommend you to go through at least 3 sections, that is introduction, conventions, and collections. These 3 sections are really important. We do recommend you to do all of the questions inside them. uh, the last 3 are more or less optional. You can try it out if you want to, if you feel interested, but these 3 sessions are kind of like mandatory. And Kotlin Playground, that's where we were coding right now. All right, so let's get started off with the course. So what you need to do is go on to this website called g.co/android/studyjams. I hope it's there on the screen right now. And you'll be going to a site like this, right? So if you're joining this for the first time, there will be a prompt right here in the middle of the screen, and it will ask you to sign in to get a badge. You should definitely do that. Even if you haven't, it's not going to be an issue. You just have to sign in and using your Google account, and if you sign in, you will get a badge. Now after you signed in, you will see your profile picture here, and next to that there's a icon that will take you to Google developer profile. So you need to click that, and you will be taken to this page, and you will be it will be showing sign in to view your profile. So I'm going to sign in. Yeah, so once you have signed in, it will show you your profile. And yeah, so it's loaded up. So it will show your profile. You can when you are doing this for the first time, it will ask you for your details like your name, location, and all. You should give all of that. And once you have completed, once you have created that account here, once you have signed in here, you will be given a you will be given a badge called Android Study Jams Participant Badge. And as you go through the course and complete various units of that course, you will be getting more and more badges. So these badges are really important. It's what we'll be using to give you certificates. So make sure you get all the badges correctly. Right. So here you will have two tracks. So the one that I would recommend is go for the prior programming experience track. So in that there is this Kotlin cons. This is what I had showed you in the slides. It will look like this, and you can start this. And there are a lot of questions here, so you can try it out at your own time. And I would recommend you to try these 3 sections: introduction, conventions, and collections before you start out with the course. It will really help you to understand more about Kotlin, learn the basics pretty well. You will be thorough with it. And oops, yeah, okay. So after doing Kotlin cons, you can actually start the course, and there are 2 units inside this with 10 pathways. Each pathway will have like, yeah. So there will be various pathways like this. It will be pretty easy. Just go through the videos. Like there will be videos and code labs. You have to complete them. Code labs will have some instructions that you need to do, and at the end of each pathway there will be a quiz. You can take that quiz. You can attempt it any number of times. Even if you get it wrong, don't worry. You can try it out again and again. There's no time limit to that. But yeah, so that's what about this course. Yeah. So I hope you got how to create an account in that.
Gogana,
Yeah.
I'd like to pitch in here just a small
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
so you would have to show us the badges as Gokulnath showed you.
Yeah. This.
We'll tell you how many pathways you have to complete to earn the certificate, and you will have to send us a screenshot of this page. That is your
This page,
developer
right?
profile page with all the badges you have collected, and we'll verify them. And only if you have completed the certain number of pathways that we recommend, will you get a certificate. And it's really recommended that you complete Kotlin cones before you start this, as
Yeah. Yeah.
Gokulnath.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I hope it's clear about certification and all. Right. So let's just move on. Yeah. As I told you, create a developer profile where you'll be able to see your badges and all, and Kotlin cons. Okay. So now we are coming to the end of this session. Now I'd like to hear from you. What did you like about Kotlin? How do you feel about this language? Can you please put it in the comments? Feel free to say anything about Kotlin. I won't be judging you based on that. Whether you liked it, whether you're interested to go forward with Kotlin and Android development, please put it in the chat. Yeah, it's okay. Come on, guys, start commenting. We need to see something. Give your honest opinion. Don't think that I'll be judging. Anyone would be judging you based on your opinion. Tell us what you feel about Kotlin. It's much easier. Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah. Good. So most people like it. So I hope you will be following up and do join DSC MEC's Discord server. The link is right here. Aditya, can we just have that link again on the screen? The link is also in the video description. So you can, if you are not a member of the DSC MEC Discord group,
Yes,
do
I did
join
it.
for that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody, please do join this Discord group. We'll be posting updates about the course, and you can also ask where, any doubts that you have, and we'll be able to clarify that. Yeah. Okay.
So we have our comments coming in. Are
Okay.
they all liked it, I guess? And it seems they're saying that it's easier, clean,
Yeah, not having
and
semicolon is epic.
yeah, that's nice too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what I feel about Kotlin is that it's kind of like Java, but the syntax is like Python. It's much easier syntax, and the thing is the concepts and all the things are kind of similar to Java. So this is a really
That's
good place to start.
yeah, that's actually true. Even I felt the same.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
even the type strong type language is similar to
yeah,
Java as well.
yeah, yeah.
And I feel
So
this is much more easier
yeah,
than
this very
what
easy.
people
Actually,
thought it would be.
I told you in the beginning, the first time that I used Kotlin was just 10 days ago, and today here I am taking this session. So
Exactly,
you must
exactly.
understand
Yeah.
how easy it is to pick up Kotlin. So
I remember telling you about this
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
during the
yeah,
session, and you're like, "Oh my God, will it be much to
yeah,
learn?"
yeah,
After you went through this, it's much easier now, right?
yeah. It's much easy. I just went through just the basics, and here we are.
Exactly, exactly. So anyone can learn this, and
Yes.
we know that we are having our series exams next week, so we won't be having any sessions next week. Don't worry, guys. And we'll give you plenty of time to learn for what you have learned in this session and complete Kotlin codes by the time we have our
Codes,
next
and
session.
if you have time remaining, you can start with the course. There's no problem with that. You can go ahead and do the course as much as you want. There's no problem with that. You can start from today itself, no problem. And stay tuned for session 2. So if there are no other doubts or clarifications to be done, thank you. Thank you
Okay, guys.
for joining this session.
If you have any doubts, guys, we'll be here for 5 to 10 more minutes. So you can
Yeah.
put them in the chats.
Yeah. Also, thanks to DSC MEC for letting me do this session. It's been a real privilege.
Thanks, Google and Sang. Thanks a lot for actually accepting our invitation and
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
doing this. I am really sure that it will benefit a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would
This
like to also
community learning is a really good concept. So I hope all of you join that Discord server and make it really active. Do
we'll
ask
be
any
setting up
doubt
a
that you have.
channel. We'll be setting up a separate channel for
Yeah.
the Android study jam. So if you have any further doubt, you can ask it in the Discord channel, and we Gokulnath and me will be really active there. So if you have any doubt, you can ask it there about the program or regarding Kotlin. And thank you all. We couldn't have especially done this without you guys. So thank you guys for your support and
Thank you
actually
so much,
attending
guys.
this session.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you have any doubt, you can ask them
Any
in the
doubts,
chat.
please leave it in the chat. I'll be answering that.
Aldrin says awesome teaching, Gokul.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Aldrin.
Wait for 2 more minutes for any doubts and then
Yeah.
we'll discuss.
Okay. It's been almost one hour 45 minutes, right?
Yes, it's been 1
Was
hour.
it too lengthy? I think
No, I mean you covered all the necessary
Yeah.
stuff, so I guess it was really interesting, and we got a great feedback from the guys. So yeah, sure, it wasn't lengthy at all. In normal sessions would go up to 2 hours, but then we managed to keep it within 2 hours.
So what I have to say is, guys, do show up for the second session. We'll be trying to make an app live. So please do follow up for that. All right.
Okay, then I guess that's it. I would like to thank everyone again, and thank you, Gokul, for taking your time and doing this.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, DSC MEC.
Sure, you're welcome.
Yeah. Let's sign out.
So yeah, let's sign off, and please subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and stay tuned for more updates.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Peace out.
Peace.